I am not at all in a humor for writing. I must write on until I am. Jane Austen. A common feeling for writers is, I want to write, but I just don't want to write. So here are some tips for getting past that mindset. Just start. Tell yourself you're only going to write a little bit, just one little sentence, nothing too difficult, and then write it down. No matter how bad it is, you write it down, because at that point, you've got momentum. You've gotten over that resistance that was preventing you from writing in the first place. In chemistry, and particular biochemistry, the activation energy is often this significant barrier to the start of some sort of chemical reaction. Enzymes are molecules that lower that activation energy. Often they'll attach to another molecule and change its shape or orientation to make it more amenable to reacting with other molecules. With writing or any other endeavor that you want to do, but you find yourself resisting getting started, you have to find what your enzyme is. Maybe it's just telling yourself just a little bit of a fib, telling yourself, oh, you just have to write one little sentence, and that counts as good writing for today. For some people, the enzyme might be truly more chemical. Coffee, for example. Or maybe something to just release some endorphins. How about some good music? You can't wait for motivation to come to you. You have to go after that motivation. And I think the best way to do it is to build momentum by just getting started. The mindset that motivation comes first is wrong. Motivation and passion, that desire to keep going, to keep doing this thing, they come after you start taking action.
The way this works is, you do the thing you're scared shitless of, and you get the courage after you do it, not before you do it.
That's a dumbass way to work. It should be the other way around.
I know. That's the way it works.
Lower your expectations and your standards. Don't go in thinking you're going to complete a whole chapter, that you're going to write this amazing scene, or even just an amazing paragraph. If you do, fantastic. Celebrate that. But don't expect it. It's okay to be a little bit negative about our expectations. A lot of the things that we do in life, a lot of the things that we want to do, are comprised of lots of little things that we don't want to do. I think about the 80-20 rule, and in this case I would say that 80% of our effort often feels wasted. I'm not saying it is wasted, but it feels wasted. With writing, this is the sitting down and staring at a blank screen or staring at a blank sheet of paper. This is the doing nothing and thinking about where does our plot go next? What do our characters do? Or what do they look like? Or what do they say? Or whatever the question is. This is us writing down scraps of ideas on paper and then throwing them away. This is us going to our bookshelf and rereading On Writing or Save the Cat or Bird by Bird and then beating ourselves up because we're not literally putting words on the paper. Get past that. Expect it even. That's just kind of how things go. You can't be productive in the sense of putting the words down 100% of the time. A lot of times you just gotta sit there and, be a little frustrated, stare out the window and just ponder a little bit and hope an idea comes to you. And sometimes it will, and a lot of times it won't. Put in 50% effort. I'm saying, if you feel like you have the excitement to push onward, go beyond whatever your typically allotted writing time is, don't do it. Stephen King claims to end his writing sessions mid-sentence so that he's already falling forward with momentum the next time he sits down to write. Are you more prolific than Stephen King? Now, to be perfectly honest, I really struggle with this one. I'm not sure I totally buy it. Like, the idea of stopping mid-sentence and having that momentum the next time you sit down to write, I love that. I'm cool with that. Like I said, number one tip was that momentum thing. But the idea that if you're inspired to push onward, don't pull back and sort of hold off on that so that it carries on to tomorrow, I don't know about that. That has the feeling to me of a secret rule, of something that I'm forcing myself to do because I think that I'm going to be more excited in the future. I'm sort of restraining from having my dessert so that I'll savor it better in the future. I think that might be a personal choice. That might be it works for some people, it doesn't work for other people. But, nothing is more true about writing advice than it doesn't always apply to everyone. Get rid of secret rules. I really like this one. I think writers in particular are bad about this. We make up all kinds of rules. Oh, I can't write on paper. It's inefficient. Oh, I can't write unless I have an allocated chunk of time that is this long and is not going to be interrupted by anything and all the conditions are perfect. No. If you have some time to write and you think, no, this is not the right time, why? Ask yourself, why is that not the right time? Now, I'm not suggesting that you should fill every spare moment with writing. I'm not saying that. I do think you should take breaks. I think there is some truth in that other tip that I said of if you feel like you can give more effort, maybe back off a little bit and don't. We need to refresh ourselves. We need to take breaks. But I do think we also constrain ourselves often saying, I have to write under these particular conditions. Pursue fun. This one seems like it should be obvious, but it is not. Suppose you are in love with flowery language. I've met plenty of writers like this. You love the purple prose. You want adjectives and adverbs all the way to the moon. You go ahead and do that, friend. You write the writing that you enjoy. You know what? Later on, you need to make it palatable to the market or whatever. Fine. Worry about that at a later date. You are trying to enjoy writing right now. Let's put in all those fun descriptions if that's what you like. If you prefer to hit those word count goals, you really love to say, I wrote another 1,000 words today. Awesome. You keep whatever sort of tracker you have that keeps track of word count. Write your latest words in a blank document and then check the word count before you copy it over to your main document or however you do it. Fantastic. You hit those word counts if that's what motivates and excites you. Remove decisions. This is a corollary of just start. Decisions are exhausting. Decision fatigue is a real thing. For some people, it may be advantageous to give yourself a curriculum, to say, tomorrow I'm going to write blank. And that way you don't have to think about, what am I going to write? Where am I going to go? Where am I going to start? That's exactly what you're doing. Now, for other people, you need more spontaneity. That's not the way to do it. But I think for a lot of people, one way to remove decisions is put in placeholders when you're writing. Can't think of a name for a person, place, or thing? Just fill in a placeholder. A lot of us use brackets or have some particular word that we're going to go back and search for when we're revising. For the protagonist, just name them protagonist. Shit, if you're Neil Stephenson, you can just publish the book and leave that as their name. Congratulate yourself for your accomplishments, for whatever writing you have done today, yesterday, and hopefully tomorrow. You will build momentum. You'll build momentum in the moment by starting to write and continuing to write. You will build the momentum on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month basis. Doesn't mean you're not going to take breaks in there. We need our breaks. We need our refreshers. But have that confidence that the momentum will build and the enjoyment will build. We're trying to enjoy this process because we want to write. Go revisit something you wrote that you think is really good. Right? Go back and find that and realize, yeah, I can do this. And then go forward with whatever your new writing is. I have some more resources for you. I'm going to put these in the video description and also maybe a couple links in the comments. This video I made here was actually inspired by Video Game Sage Day 9 and his video on how to overcome demotivation and lack of passion.
To implement this idea that I want to do, and then you're going to be excited to sit down, you're going to have some momentum carrying you. That's going to happen way out in the future. What I want you to cling to in between when you start and everything sucks and when that happens is if you spend 50% effort for 1 or 2 hours a few times a week, give yourself a big old fuck. I unplugged it, but I realized I don't even need to listen to anything. Give yourself a big old reward and pat on the back after you do that.
I was also inspired by this cartoon here, which I will link to and which I've shown some panels of throughout the video. I think another YouTuber, Shaelin Writes, also did a good video on this topic, so consider checking out her video as well, titled How to Make Writing Fun.
You have to get really good at one thing, and it's not wallowing on problems. If you get to a scene and it's not working, rather than just stopping and let it completely derail you and be like, well, I can't move on until I figure out the scene, but I hate the scene, so I'm not really going to work on the scene. you will never get anything done. Instead, it has to be, okay, I'm not really liking how the scene is. I'm either going to skip it or I'm just going to write a really bad version of it and I'm going to come back later. And you have to get really, really good at writing a bad version or just skipping it and coming back later.
Don't lose yourself in motivational videos. Remember, the key thing is to get started with that writing. Motivation and passion and the desire comes after you get started, not before.